I'm Dave Snyder, and I have a 6-month-old. And I'm a
dad. Say I've been a dad
I've been a dad for 6 weeks.
Hi, I'm Will Smith, and I've been a dad for 11 weeks.
Hi, I'm Jeff Green, and I've been a dad for 20 years.
Do it in weeks.
I don't have those math skills.
240?
My 20-year-old does.
I'm Vinny Caravella, and I've been a dad for 13-ish months. Depends how you count.
Hey, we're a bunch of dads.
We are?
We're a bunch of dads.
We're a bunch of dads. And happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Hey, wait a minute. My kid's 19. She's not 20 yet.
Nice job.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't even know if my kid's 13 months.
The remainder falls off. It's fine.
I don't know. Do you count the zero?
All right. If we count the zero, she's 20.
Yeah.
All right, I'm off the hook.
She's 2 decades
like
old.
modulo? The
yeah,
chop
like
off the remainder?
R1. Yeah,
nothing
like an
remains?
R1.
Okay.
Or if you count the pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's another 9 months.
Oh, sure.
Hold on, that's super political, man. I don't know if we want to go
or
there.
or the day of conception.
Well, I mean, we celebrated that a few weeks ago. So,
Yeah, seriously, happy Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Yay. Couldn't do it without him.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without you.
Yeah.
we figured what better way to celebrate mothers than by getting a bunch of dudes together and talking about how hard it is to be dads.
Yep.
Um,
And the moms can't do a momcast because they're too busy taking care of
They all have the kids.
Yeah.
What's the Mother's Day? This is first Mother's Day. No, this isn't your first Mother's Day, Vinny. This is your second Mother's Day.
Second Mother's Day. Well, yes, it was my wife's second Mother's Day.
I have long maintained that Mother's Day is a manufactured holiday that was worthy of scorn.
Yes.
And my feelings on that have changed pretty dramatically in the last several weeks, it turns out.
Is now the high holiest of holidays?
I don't know about high holiest, but there is a plan. I have a holiday plan, which I rarely have.
They definitely deserve the day.
Yes.
And it's up to the dad to fuck it up, basically, right? I mean, the kid is not responsible for making sure that mother, even though it's their mom.
You mean I can't just put the 4-month-old baby in the kitchen and be like,
all,
make breakfast for your mom?
It's all on you, buddy. It's all on you for
kid closet.
Even when they're a teenager, it's still on the dad.
Oh,
Really?
Hate to tell you.
What?
So we have to prod the kid. So, okay.
My dad kept blaming me every year.
Really?
Well, your dad knew
for everything.
You're messing up your mom's Mother's
She's
Day.
your mother.
Yeah.
I just okay. So 4 months in, the big lesson to me about this whole thing is that I should really write like an extensive letter to my mom and dad, apologizing for all of the horrible shit that I did to them over the course of my childhood.
Oh, I did that in college.
Deep into my no, but it's a different apology letter because I did that one. That was the thanks for paying for stuff, mom and dad.
Yeah.
This is the wow. I had no idea what a horrible thing I was doing to you when I was out past 10 o'clock and didn't call. And like, you were going through, because like,
Wow, you have a rambunctious 4-month-old.
dude, I do that.
At cruising.
I get up and I lay there and I look at the monitor. I'm like, I can't see her move. Is she, and that's when she's in the other room 8 feet away. When, like, if she was out in the world with a car and boys.
Sure.
We're pure audio.
Fuck, man.
Went pure audio.
What?
No video on the monitor?
That's a good move.
Made a conscious decision.
That's a good move.
That's a smart move.
That'll save you some stress.
The video
That's
makes
what
you
we
crazy.
thought.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of creeper.
The video?
Yeah.
It is. real
Like you're
creepy.
just
Yeah.
like, you just got a fool. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure once they're moving around or something, when she's going nuts, that's when I'll start getting scared and I'll just listen for like thumps.
Well, then I feel like then you listen for thump and then you wait and you listen for a cry, right? If it's a thump and then a
that real slow one. The slow cry's the best.
No. The slow cry.
Oh, I know. It's
so
a really
bad.
bad one, but it's like the best to hear. The other one is the one where they just have like the face of terror, but they're not making any sound. It's like the space cry. You know? They're just like
I think that's the one. I think that's the one where they're like, something happened. I'm not sure if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now?
I'm trying to process this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I got to the end of the flow chart, and every tier ends with cry.
Yeah,
so
the misdirection didn't work.
Yeah.
Like it lasts about 30 seconds.
you usually just slam a boob there, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is much better.
That works for us.
Yeah, I know.
So Dave, you're brand new.
I am.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
What's up?
I don't know. I haven't been too bad. They say like you've got one of them's going to be bad, either the pregnancy, the birth, or the kid.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before, but that sounds true.
It's so this one was the pregnancy.
Oh no.
Okay, it's not. It wasn't that bad.
Everybody's healthy. Everybody's fine.
Everybody's healthy. Everybody
Okay,
came
good.
out okay.
10
but-
fingers, 10 toes.
Yeah. So we were in Petaluma. We had to do like hour, long sprint, which we timed perfectly. There was
crazy.
like throwing up in a car, but that
the
that's
hospital.
pretty normal. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we get there. We go through the whole 10-hour, labor or whatever. Longer than that. She's pushing. She's doing all this stuff. The doctor comes up and is basically like, I'm not optimistic that this baby's, going to come out this way. And then Nicole, who is like, no, I really want to do this vaginally. Like, can I try like a couple more times?
This is after like 10 hours?
It was, yeah.
Like
so,
active
all through
labor,
the night.
10 hours. Okay.
Yeah. So then the doctor comes back. She's like, why don't you guys think about it? And she's like, I really want to try some more. The doctor comes back and she's like, I'm really pessimistic.
Well, just kind of like,
flipped the wording. So they were like, we need to get you, your baby's going to be born in the next hour. We need to go do a C-section, which, is the thing that you think when you go through all the stuff. That's the part, the chapter that you
That's
skip.
the fail condition.
Right. Oh, we don't have to
It's
deal
like,
with that.
Yeah, no, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll go totally well. So she had a C-section, which was, kind of scary. It's a basic operation, but you don't really know that it was coming.
It wasn't like the emergency. It was like you were able to be in the room.
Yes, the scariest part was where they were like, all right, we're going to go prep her. We'll be back in 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes is really 30 minutes. And then you're just sitting there like in an empty room.
Yeah.
And like cleaning people are coming in to
you're
like
just-
clean up the room. And
yeah.
you're like, I hope my wife's okay.
Yeah.
But then we go, the C-section thing, the way they do it is they put a big giant screen like right here.
Right at chest level.
She's got like
Yeah.
a tent, basically.
And they also want to put you on that side because if you look on the other side, which I did, gore.
Yeah.
Just like absolute gore.
Yeah.
Just a Cronenberg movie happening
Yeah.
on the other side.
So it's really funny. You kind of sit there and you do the misdirection thing with your wife, which is like, don't think about your stomach being opened up right now.
That's bad misdirection.
She's feeling like hugging and all
Wait a
this
minute.
stuff. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
So you're like talking and
They're
doing all-
unpacking your uterus.
But meanwhile, like on the other side of this like tent structure, you can feel like doctor arms. Because there's like 6 people on the other side.
wow.
Oh, wow.
And so you can kind of feel moving around. And it's weird that like you're moving around. They're moving around quite a bit.
Man.
Which was kind of like bizarre.
And she's fully like from like the like chest down anesthetized. Like she's but she's fully mobile up top.
Yes.
And is she happy? Like, did they dope her up a little bit?
She
or
was
is
fine.
she...
The bad part was they kept giving her, she did the epidural, went through, hey, I'm going to go do natural for a long time. Then like, hey, get me the drugs.
Okay.
Too many people, so like waited, an hour and a half during that time to get them.
Yeah.
Then when they get them, the dripper, she's like hitting the button, and she's like, I don't think this thing is working. And I'm like, we're both like, the way that we went through the stuff was, we're both very nice, polite people, and so like we didn't want to bother anybody anytime.
Maybe it's just
like,
you, right?
Yeah, are you? Let's ask. Like we'll ask next time they come, and then they're like, yeah, this thing isn't working. So they got to come in and like.
So it really
start
wasn't
doing-
working?
Yeah, it wasn't working. So
God.
the nurse or the anesthetizer person or whatever had to do it like manually through like just pushing drugs.
Like
Oh,
they
wow, like
injected
squeeze
a
the IV
syringe
or
or
something?
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
through the IV and or the little thing that comes through the back. But we go through the cesarean or whatever. You hear the basic reaction that you have is instead of seeing it, you hear it. So you hear them crying. You're like, that's awesome. The baby's healthy. They put it on table, go do the normal stuff. Do you guys cut the cord?
Yeah.
Really?
Jeez, I don't even.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
I just
Scared me.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
right.
teeth, right?
Yeah, teeth. That's what they told us to do.
But then it's
Kidding. I didn't use
I
teeth
kind
on
of
the
don't
cord.
remember.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, I totally remember.
Okay.
But it was all really fast for us because he was like,
Yeah.
he was like, do you want to cut the cord? I was like, yeah, I'll cut the cord. Boom. And he's like, do you want to hand the baby up to the mom? I was like, I didn't know this was a thing that you could do.
Yeah.
And by the time I said yes, the baby was in my arms. I was like, oh, wait, I'm kind of wearing clothes I like, but you know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it was a whirlwind.
I wanted nothing to do with it. They like told me. I was like, no, you are trained professionals. I want nothing to do with this. Like,
probably smart.
I do not want to hold sharp objects around like my brand new child.
Lady parts and a
up.
baby. Yeah.
But then the baby comes out, and you've got that choice at that point, which is like, do you stay with the mom or stay with the kid? And so we had initially planned, we were like, oh, I'll stay with you, stay with the mom. And then when it happened, she's like, you know what, I'm just kind of falling asleep. I think I'll be fine. Why don't you go with the baby? So I go with the baby. Then I'll give you what I got. So then on my side, which is 30 minutes later, you see a nice picture of me like holding a kid.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
Yeah, good picture. That was like where I was at. Then probably about 5 minutes after that picture, a doctor walks in and is like, so we're going to let you talk with your wife. She's going to tell you about her weird dreams. And I was like,
wow.
What? And they're like, the epidural or whatever wasn't, working as well, so she could feel stuff. So we had to do something that was fast, and so we gave her ketamine.
They gave her horse tranquilizers.
She fell in a K-hole?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So she's there, and from her story, which all the doctors then, like, we couldn't hear, for the next 2 days that we were in there. Like, everybody wanted to, like, tell that story or whatever of, how she was. But she apparently... It makes you like hallucinate a little bit.
Yeah.
But in like a waking hallucination. So you don't think you're in a dream, you're in reality.
Like lucid dreaming.
So her reality
sounds fun.
Was that she was in a place that only, like, she had an epiphany moment, which only pregnant women figure out, like, that you are.
This is her. This is her telling you this.
This is her.
Yeah.
And
This is her. Okay.
she was a part of a Matrix-like world where she was basically on a table as a like machine being constructed, and that she could see the bits like in the air, like coming out, and like.
But from her point of view, this is what all pregnant women realize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Oh, this is what this is
Right.
What if this is the glimpse into the real world?
Yeah.
She's the only sane person.
Holy cow.
So that's like her crazy thing that she had.
Was the doctor kind of straight faced when he was telling you about she's got her stories?
He did, like, he was like a real kind of just, by the books kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he just did one of these and he was like, so,
He crossed the arms and was just like, well.
Because what do you think, like, when you weren't there, that she was telling the doctors, like,
I'm
like
sure.
wink, wink, I know.
my thing
Like,
was that I was glad I was not there, because then I would have been part of this weird illusion and she would never look at me the same. Like,
Sure.
again.
Right,
You were the atom
Yeah.
smasher.
Yeah, exactly. So, whatever. It was all, super healthy. Then she ends up getting back. And I guess the ketamine makes you, pretty active too. So, like, normally she should have just been like,
Out.
I just went through an operation and I'm ready to be done.
After 10 hours
and she's
of labor.
just like,
Oh, man.
talking and like doing all this kind of stuff. And the doctors are like, is this how she is normally? Because we need to watch her.
Oh, God.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
And then we were there you have to be there a couple more days, which is, we got bored. You have to be there like 4 days rather than 2.
Became good friends with the vending
C-section.
machine.
Yeah.
The 2 days, at the end of 2 days, we were like, yeah, okay, we've had all the hospital we need.
Yeah.
If I had to stay another 2 days, it would have probably gotten a little crazy.
Sleeping on the weird,
pull out
couch
Yeah.
thing.
But I think we talked about this last time. Yeah, you're there for a while and like you're there for 2 days and you know everybody at the cafeteria. But then like when they're like, all right, time to go, and you're like, wait, really?
Yeah.
No, you're just gonna
Yeah.
kick us?
Yeah.
We just go now?
We were all right. We were more
Yeah.
like, let's get out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
But like when you
I think it's the extra day. Like once you're there again,
Yeah.
like you're just like, I just want to go home.
But it
Like,
wasn't-
I can do this at home.
But it wasn't weird putting her in the car, like okay, well this is like this. You pretty much I think putting the
No.
child in the car seat is like locking, like putting the key into the lock, right? You're like life.
I just bought this thing. It's mine now.
This is it. Strap it in. We're good to go.
You just rolled it off the lot. It's worth like a third as
And
much
he-
as it was before.
and then you drive super slowly.
Yeah.
out of the thing. Like oh man, I
that
have a
was,
baby in the car.
and that was, we had a longer one to
Took
go.
you 6 hours to get back to
and
Petaluma.
You have that fun bit where you're like, well, should I sit in the passenger seat or should I sit in the back or all that kind of
She
stuff.
sat in the back, right?
She sat in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, but the
They
baby was,
always
like,
sit in the back.
asleep for the most part.
Yeah.
But came out healthy, and the kid's been, I don't know, it's been a kid. So running on the schedules,
changed
all the
diapers.
breastfeeding stuff was fine.
Oh, good.
So everything was pretty good. The only weird part that we had was, unfortunately, Nicole had a death in the family.
Oh no.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So her dad was really sick when she was going in.
Oh, boy.
So it was doubly bad with the C-section because it's longer thing. So then we ran into a bunch of fun things, which are like, how do you get across country
Oh, right, 'cause
when
your
you have a
family's all on
brand
the
like
East
a,
Coast,
a
right?
newborn?
Yeah.
So
Because you don't want to, like, they tell you not to take the baby out of the house for like 2 weeks.
exactly. So
While
you
the immune
can't.
system builds.
You have to do the 6 weeks or whatever immunization, which is what she's doing on Monday. So we had to find all these fun rules. Basically, if you're going to travel, you can do it. The mom can do it. The baby can't. So I stuck with the kid, and we just tried to get her on, being okay with formula.
Sure.
And then she was an easy kid, and I just watched her with my mom a couple days.
Nice.
And then Nicole went back, and she'd pump and dump,
Pump and dump?
or freeze it or something, and
Yeah.
come back.
Oh,
So
wow.
it worked out.
Wow.
That's stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful for
That's
her. It was
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I'm sorry.
she did a really good job through it. I was really proud of her.
That's awesome.
So how are you now? Are you in routine land, or do you feel like you got a little?
We're doing like crazy shit. We've gone camping with the kids.
Wait, hold
You're
on.
kidding.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Dave Snyder?
like car camping or
We
You took her backpacking. No, of course, car camping. Car camping, right?
We've got a little teardrop trailer, so we threw her in. We did a short one because we're doing a cross country one coming up here next week. But we did just like short. Let's go to Napa or something, and we just camped with.
Took
the
her
kid.
wine tasting.
And the only bad part with that was freaking out about mosquitoes. The rest of it was easy.
Do you have a thing with a mosquito net over it?
We do now.
Okay. Okay.
We had a car.
Yeah.
Which was
rolled
what we did
windows up
there.
and-
It's like, there are too many mosquitoes. Why don't
You're
you
not
get in
supposed
the car?
You're not supposed to leave the baby in the car by yourself. You know.
Well, it was
You
with
just
the,
crack
she was
the
feeding
window.
with the mom.
Oh, okay. Is that all you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
how's Dean doing? How's the dog with the baby?
He was good. He licks her.
Okay.
He wants
He
to see
got-
what baby tastes like. He's just warming up.
He got a little protective, so he barks more.
Okay.
Like
that's
at
cool.
people going across the street. Well, it's cool, kinda.
Yeah.
It's not cool at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
he'll
no,
just-
that's not cool.
Yeah, he'll sprint out of the bed. But it's been super
But he
easy.
accepts her as part of the
Yes.
pack now.
Right.
Yes.
Is she under his
Essentially.
wing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we had my sister's dog over, he wanted nothing to do with that dog,
Oh, really?
which is a little tiny. Like
She's a
Shih
nice
Tzu.
dog, but
but he didn't
she's a
want
little
anything to
yippy.
do with her. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the whirlwind.
That's your last 6 weeks. How long does it feel like subjectively? Like 3 days?
Yeah, it feels pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was very easy for me. I feel easier than most. I would definitely say I am full support of like some sort of mandatory dads get off decent amounts of time because that was a big, huge help.
Well, there were
Obviously.
Yeah.
there were two things for me on that. One is that like, so I took off. I ended up because of the appendectomy. I ended up being off for almost a month. And like even when I came back, the amount of sleep that we were getting and all that, I shouldn't have been driving a car like at all. Like it wasn't good.
Don't operate heavy machinery.
Yeah, at one point I was driving down 280 at about 80 miles an hour. I was like, man, I am really not in any condition at all to drive a vehicle right now. So yeah, that was bad. But yeah, everybody should get more time
Yeah.
because it makes a difference.
I have a weird like side effect question with that stuff. Did you guys get like dizzy from
During
like
the-
lack of sleep or anything?
No.
I should go to a
Like
doctor.
fall down, did he?
You should see a medical professional. Dadcast is not a doctor.
We should disclaim that up front.
Yeah. We are not professionals.
Yes.
You should really not take any of our advice.
When we were going through the options of like how to get back to New Jersey,
Yeah.
for Nicole, the doctors and stuff were talking, because her dad was sick a little bit beforehand, so we were like, maybe there's a way we can sneak back. And they were like, look, if you have your baby on the plane, they will have to land the plane, and then you will have the baby wherever the plane lands. And you will have to buy like car seats and all that kind of stuff because you're going to have to drive back from wherever you're at. So they did it.
What a fun story, though.
I think there's one airplane or one airline that'll actually let you do it.
If
Yeah,
you're like
nobody else
past.
will.
Yeah,
the
they
point.
won't
Wow.
let
Yeah.
like when Gina flew about month 7.5, and she looked pretty big at that point. And they were like, The gate check-in woman was like, "How pregnant are you?"
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're getting ready to fly. We're taking the kid back in June.
This is your first flight?
First flight with the baby. I've flown without the baby since she was born, but I've flown with a baby before. And you've done this a lot, Vinny, so we could use some advice on this.
A lot being
More than we have.
5 or 6 flights.
Yeah, that's a lot for a 13-month-old.
Didn't you say you'd never do it again?
Yeah.
Each time, I think, right? Yeah.
No, the last time wasn't so bad. So the last time...
How old was Max the first time you went?
3 months, I think.
Okay, so
three or 4 months.
We'll be at 5, I think. So
that was really tough. He's not, but it's my kid is just not a good sleeper. He hates sleeping probably more than anything in his short life right now.
like, is it the going to sleep that he doesn't like, or is it just like the closing his eyes and the world ending?
He hasn't explained it to me yet.
Oh, you should ask him about this.
he hasn't written it down. Dad, here's why I scream every time. Well, he just hated it. So like, so that made it really difficult because you hear some parents that go on a plane. It's just like, especially at that age, just like just breastfeed him, just goes to sleep. Like the baby sleep like 47 hours in a row. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Do you have a human child? Like, what am I doing wrong? So he that was tough. And with that advice coming from people, we were like, well, I think I said this last time. We'll take the red eye. We'll take the red eye, and he'll sleep.
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
Oh my God, that's a terrible.
It's a terrible idea.
Even I know that. That's real dumb.
So that made it extra bad. So I will say, knowing all that, going through a terrible flight, the last flight I did was actually really good. We went as early as possible, coming on the way back.
You mean like leaving as early in the morning as possible?
Yeah, because like now we know his routine a lot better.
Yeah.
And so, like, we know when he starts getting manic at, 5 or 6 o'clock at night when he gets loopy and his, he just won't listen to anybody phase. Yeah. So we're like, let's avoid that. Let's make sure, because East Coast is a really long flight, right? So, you're going to hit a window no matter where you're flying, what time you're flying. So we're like, let's get that's the end of the flight, right? Let's make sure that's the end. Let's leave as early as possible, and hopefully we'll get a nap in there or something like that. And it'll be a daytime flight, and hopefully nobody will be sleeping. So if the baby cries, the baby cries. And
did you do a car seat? Did you do the third seat or you lap?
We bought this last one. We bought an extra ticket, so we had the whole row.
Okay,
and that was super helpful too because he wants to get down and walk around now, so he was able to just walk in that little row.
Oh, in front of you. Okay.
That was actually. It was JetBlue, so it wasn't super duper expensive. It's definitely money out of pocket for an extra seat.
Yeah,
but it was worth it for us for our sanity.
Yeah, the lap sitting for a 5 or 6 hour flight seems pretty.
And just having the extra person in that row that's not part of that unit.
Yeah,
right. The stress, that's exhausting. The person who got worry the shaft. About are we bugging the shit out of this person? Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. You can know that's happening.
But everybody was always super. I on all the flights, nobody was ever actually mean to me.
Okay.
I think I perceived people across the plane being sighing, babies on planes, and I'm like, yeah,
what's it? Cookie Monster was there?
But it's just I just wanted to be yeah, okay, sure, the cliche, yeah, babies on planes, go whatever, do your thing, but I need to get through this too.
Everybody who's a parent kind of stops thinking that at the point that they, you go to the other side of that. When you're younger and you don't have a kid, then I think you're more like, oh fuck, there's a baby on the plane. Afterwards, you'll still do it a little. I still do it a little. Yeah. I fly all the time, but in general, though, I'm usually thinking good luck to them. Yeah. I hope they make it through this flight.
Right. Anything I can do to make it better, right? I'll try and help you out.
Right.
And I hope when I go on a plane with my son like that. There are so many kids on there that then the odds are that maybe mine won't be the worst. Maybe
middle of the pack.
Yeah, at least we're not sitting next to that kid, right, guys? Woo!
You guys suck as parents.
They've got it way worse than I do. Schadenfreude. So yeah, I think I had a really bad first experience, and this last one was not nearly as bad. It was actually pretty.
Yeah, the red eye was a
terrible error. Terrible
bad mistake.
Yep.
I mean, just woo.
On paper, it looks so smart.
The thing about even without the baby, the red eye is a mistake. Just to be clear, when we went to New York last year for work, we all were like, shit, yeah, we're gonna get an extra day. We'll take the red eye. We'll get there at 7 o'clock. We'll have all day in New York to go have fun. And then, of course, we were like, well, shit, we have a bunch of camera equipment and stuff, and what are we going to do with that? So, yeah, the red eye is always a mistake, man.
I love
red eyes.
Yeah, I like a red eye.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
You guys, I
Just
don't like you
sleep.
people.
Then you
I
get
can't
in,
sleep.
you're like, oh,
Yeah, I got
perfect.
I just need like a little nap or something when I get back.
What's the what gear did you take? How did you deal with strollers and all and car seats and all that stuff?
So my wife is a big fan of taking the actual stroller, the battle wagon, through the airport.
you have the same one we do.
The
We're
Upper
Baby
Vista.
families.
We're
yeah.
all the same.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
guys-
That's great.
Yeah.
And
great move.
it's a really nice stroller.
It's tall.
It's tall. It's pretty big. It's stable.
It's offensively. It was really expensive. It was the most expensive thing we bought by a huge
It's
margin.
pretty expensive, but there are more expensive strollers.
Oh, yes, that was a
or
value
whatever,
compromise.
The one that spins around. I forget what the
Yeah, there's the one with the anti-gravity thing that just rides 3 inches above the 3 inches above the gravel.
That one comes with like a Harvard application.
Yeah, and the baby has to wear antenna to control it. So,
she likes bringing that, and I understand why, because she can put the luggage underneath it, and then we can take that whole thing through the airport. I was trying to convince her to take just one of those umbrella strollers, the small collapsible ones.
he's big enough to use that now.
Yeah, he's big enough to use it, but she didn't want to use it, so we bring that, and we have to.
Do you gate check it?
We gate check it, yeah.
Okay.
So we bring it through security, and they kind of always want you to disassemble it and bring it through the scanner. Like they actually don't want you to just wheel it through.
Okay.
Which is I think is weird, and this might vary. I've had
Baby bombs, man.
I
Baby
guess,
bombs.
and I actually had one dude like
Nothing worse than a terrorist baby.
they know how to do it too. He popped the wheels off because I don't know if you know this. I didn't know this. The wheels on the front or the back actually,
Both,
because they're
yeah.
a little wider, just pop off.
Yeah.
I didn't know it, and he's like, "No, man, they just pop off. Put
You
it
hit
through
the
the
button.
scanner." And I was like, "All right, dude, just want
Good to know.
the baby stroller. Just put it through the." Yeah, you don't want
He's got to keep the flow moving.
I guess
man.
I was kind of annoyed because it's like, dude, just wand it. Just just put it.
You just got to put it in a Ziploc bag. Like, send it through.
3 ounces or less. Do you take the bag? Because that stroller specifically, like they like warranty it against airlines if you put it in the bag.
I don't know where the bag is.
Okay.
What do you mean warranty against airlines?
Like,
Like damages?
if the airline destroys it when it's been gate checked or checked, then they will send you a new one when you land.
oh wow.
I know it's amazing.
Yeah,
it
I
was
should-
a really
I guess I should
expensive
find that
stroller.
bag.
You should find the bag.
The cool thing is they let you check the car seat for free.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't count against any baggage or anything like that. And I think also they let you take an extra carry-on for the kid.
Yeah.
And I think they might actually let you check if you want to the stroller for free.
But Gina said baby stuff depends on the airline, but different airlines have different baby stuff checking policies.
Okay.
We're
You can take the car seat on the.
we're gonna probably take the car because we have she's still in the little car seat, so we'll just strap that into the airplane.
and is
the
she's
airplane
fine in the
seat.
car seat. She doesn't mind.
Dude, yeah. So we got easy mode, baby. I mean,
I can put her in. Sometimes I take her for a drive, like when she's being ornery.
yeah.
Oh yeah, done. Out. Like
Holy
she's
cow.
out
It's
within
amazing.
5 minutes. I go get an
can't
ice cream.
we
I
did
come
that too.
back. It's perfect.
He hates it. He gets in
Really?
there. He's better now, but like, holy cow! Just like does like the back arching and like the head up and just like
no.
ah! Like holy cow! Like this is the worst. It's like full of needles. Like man, what is wrong with you? That's why we never even considered bringing the car seat on a plane because he just hates it.
Oh yeah. So we'll put her in the. So we learned two things. One is that like the bumpier the road, the better she
Yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
So like I will put her in the stroller, in the car seat in the stroller, and throw a bunch of hose on the concrete in the grass in the backyard, and then just fucking bounce over it like crazy. And she's just like, this is great.
And then out.
Yeah, unconscious. Yeah, but the other thing is, especially if you get put her in the stroller and you're like not going to get in the car, so you don't have to cinch it all the way down.
Yeah.
she's super into the car seat.
Man.
Yeah, you just got a hard baby. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. He's better now. I guess because maybe he's sitting in the car seat in his own bed of broken Cheerios now. Like
Okay.
it's just Cheerios.
That sounds terrible.
It's just
It's like eating crackers in bed.
I had to clean the car seat. Like we just kind of left it in the car for a while, and then one day I was like, I'm gonna clean the car seat, and I opened it up, like took the fabric off, and it was just like I swear,
Tons of quarters.
no Cheerios. It was just literally. I swear it was like 30 seconds of me just holding this thing, being like, oh my god, this is funny, and then oh my god, this is scary. All right, now it's funny again, and it's like Cheerios constantly coming out. Because he's got the cup that's supposed to be like that no spill cup that is like it's basically it's like 4 triangles together. So like if you turn it upside down, nothing's gonna come out. But he could stick his hand through the little gate.
Sounds like magic.
Yeah, it's a little magical. But he just he pulls it out and Cheerios just whip all over the place, right? So yeah, the Cheerios.
You don't have a dog, right?
No.
The dog scares me with like when she starts feeding herself and the dog is there. This is a scary, because our dog right now, the rule is if you drop something on the floor, you just don't go for it because she's real fast.
Yeah.
And like I've almost lost fingers before, so my fingers are a lot bigger than baby fingers. Just I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
Dogs are smart. Like
you bet, Chloe.
Yeah, but like. So when we went back to New York, that flight we took back to New York recently, when he turned 1, we went back to New York. And our family, my wife and I, all have dogs, right? Mm-hmm. And Max and I was actually worried about the same thing, about him going for like the dog's bowl, right? Because that's where I've always had dogs be super protective. And they were all fine. Like he'd sit there and there would be food in the bowl, and he'd go over and like not even like nothing.
You mean Max would go over and investigate the dog food as a potential source of grazing?
Oh yeah, he just start playing in the water and like throwing.
It's like a baby bath.
They're like brown Cheerios.
Dogs kind of intuitively know they're dealing with an inferior human. They know it's a baby.
See, I think Chloe still thinks it's an ugly bald puppy.
Right.
In a protective way?
Yeah, she's protected.
Right.
Like she likes to sleep under the crib. She goes in there and we're like, hey, where'd the dog go? The dog now protects her instead of us. So it used to be that she split right in between Gina and me wherever we were, and now it's just wherever the baby is.
Dean goes straight for the face lick.
Yeah,
Like if I leave her on the ground, he's just straight up, just like right there.
Chloe has learned that the tummy time mat is a no dog zone, and even though all those toys look just like dog toys, she knows that the things that crinkle and squeak that the baby holds are not fair game.
Oh, interesting.
Because the difference between dog toys and baby toys up to like age 2,
negligible.
Fucking nothing.
Yeah,
They're exactly the same thing.
Especially like pacifiers and stuff. He's gotten like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I'd say at this point.
Yeah, well, you just want to wipe it off and put it back in the baby's mouth, right?
He just
They
destroys
chew
them.
through them.
Oh, he chews. Oh, see, Chloe the other day, I tried to get a picture of it, but I missed, and she had managed to pick up the pacifier and just it was in her mouth,
Nice.
the right orientation. Everything was really funny. It's real dumb.
Yeah, I wish we did have a dog because I like when I was with Max and the family, he loves dogs, and like I want to have that constant interaction because I want him to not be afraid of animals, whatever. So I kind of wish we did have a dog, but I would worry about it probably if you had an aggressive dog. I don't know.
Well,
Chloe just
it's not that
like
she's
an
aggressive. She's fast. Like she doesn't think. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll work itself out. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Back to the traveling stuff. Am I crazy for attempting to go cross country?
I think
So how long did you wait?
Before you did a cross-country
like
road
long
trip with your
drives.
daughter.
Well, we actually went to France before she was even 1.
Great. So
Yeah.
what was that experience like?
It was actually fine. I mean, Sarah was a colicky kid. She didn't sleep well for like 3 years. Okay, so we had it rough. But interestingly enough, on planes, she was always fine. It was kind of like what you guys were talking about with cars, like the white noise of the plane.
Yeah,
would just
put her
conk
to
her
sleep.
out.
Yeah.
So I remember when we got on the plane going over to France, and we were towards the middle.
This is a direct from here.
Direct from SF to Paris.
Okay.
Wow.
And we got on the plane, and the guy behind us like audibly complained to us, like as we were sitting down. He just was like, "Oh God, great, a baby."
Was he
Did
French?
you say it in a nice French accent?
No, it was an American dude. It was on this side, and we were just like, "Hey, man, fuck you." We paid for our seat.
Right.
And the thing was, we did, and you could talk to your doctor about it. We did drug her a little. I can't remember now. It's been so long. They do it. There's a proper
This is
way
not
to
a
do
medical.
it.
That's right. Not medical doctors.
Again, right? Not a medical podcast, right? But I forget what we gave her. It was
Ketamine.
something
Maxwell's silver hammer.
right? Yeah, and I don't even know if we needed to do that because in fact she was fine. She slept like the whole way, and when she
Oh my
woke up,
gosh.
she was just sort of like,
Yeah.
just sort of waving her arms around or whatever. And the guy actually apologized on the other end when we got there. He said, "I was wrong.
He looked at babies a different way the rest of his life.
Yeah. So it's going to depend on the kid. Really.
Yeah.
You should have said, yeah, now there are 2 of them. When he was like baby on the plane. I'm saving that one.
Wait, what?
Because he's a baby too for complaining.
I got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lock it up, put it in there.
I'll laugh like tomorrow afternoon.
No,
maybe 3
you're
o'clock.
going to use it, and then you're going to feel real shitty about yourself, then have to apologize to that guy.
I do that a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, we had way worse nights just at home than we ever did on that plane.
Mm-hmm.
So how does jet lag work for babies? Can you the thing that we're supposed to do is like you keep them up all night and you stay up as late as you can, and then like you go to bed and you sleep 7 or 8 hours. You hopefully wake up on the right schedule. Does that work for babies or not? So like is this where the drugs come in?
Well, when we were on New York time, we just never switched.
Oh, okay.
We just kept it, and then so when we got back, maybe an hour shifted or so.
Yeah.
But it was like we were going to bed. It's 3 hours, so it's not as much as France or something like that. So like we kind of did about halfway with the time zone stuff, so it wasn't so bad.
Okay.
And when they're super young, they're practically like on an hourly schedule anyway. I mean, like as opposed to day versus night.
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
Yeah, I've heard it's a good time to go if you're going.
That's
to
what
do
everybody
that.
tells
Like,
us.
It would better to do it now than in
Like 2 years.
I would think so.
So we had the talk about
driving
because I was like, we could for what the transition from buying 2 plane tickets to go back home to buying 3 plane tickets to go back home is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And I was like, for what we're paying, we could just rent a car and drive and like have an adventure. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it for maybe 20 minutes, and then I was like, but then we're gonna have to change diapers and a bunch of so then it became a conversation about changing tables on airplanes versus changing tables at roadside gas stations between here and Tennessee.
That's trunk of the car, man.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what
she was like. I don't know if we're driving through Death Valley. I don't want to whip the baby out on the side of the interstate. And anyway,
back seat.
It ended up being like 2 weeks. We were like, it would take 2 weeks to do it this way. We do it 1 week the other way. So we'll take the 1 week way and maybe drive at Christmas.
That's true. It's definitely like I've
got budget
planned
more time.
much longer than normal because you can normally do it. And
you're retired, so
not retired.
You can take your time.
But going back, I think that our bigger thing is we're going to try and do campsites the whole way.
That's bananas.
So the harder part there is trying to get into most campsites. Rangers will leave around like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So
like national park campsites or like KOA.
We're doing all kinds.
Okay.
So we're doing it super loose. We just made a route, and I plotted out 10 different spots, and we're obviously not going to stop 10 times, but it's basically like how much can we take the kid each day so that there's 4-hour stops everywhere.
Long days or short days.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I think that's actually I would do that rather than try and pop into a different hotel or motel. Like you're going to be in the same camper. You have your routine. Like
but the bad stuff is like when we just did that one day. If there are bad mosquitoes or something, so we switched it up. And we're like, look, if we're going to do this, we would have paid this in a plane flight. So we bought a new tent because we're like, it's cheaper than a motel anyway.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is you guys would like it because it's a strange tent. You blow it up.
It's inflatable?
Yeah.
It's like a bounce
like
house?
an Arizona prison.
Yeah. So instead of having poles, it's all one piece, and then you can just inflate it, and it has this ribbing that goes along it.
Oh, wow.
That's air. The bad part would be is that I look at it as like this could be gimmicky. I mean, it's made by a nice camping company. So
Or do you have like a patch kit for it?
it looks really, really sturdy. I don't know. I tried it out.
I want to know more about this.
It went up in like 5 minutes.
It's like a better person tent, or like
it's 4-person. It's got like a nice little vestibule, and then you just undo the screw,
and it
goes down in 2 seconds, and you fold it up and go. Because I was like, if I'm doing this every day for a week,
so is it like pump, 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 or is it like you hook it up to the cigarette lighter?
No, it's pump, pump, and it's not. It's maybe 30 to 40 seconds of pump.
Wow.
It's not that hard.
It's kind of surprising this hasn't been thought of before.
Supposedly they've been around since the 70s.
Oh, really?
Which now makes me think, well, maybe they weren't that great.
There's a reason you don't
You're
know
right.
that.
It never caught on.
But like, if you're a backpacker, you probably don't want to carry the pump, right?
Well, it's not a
weight
backpack.
thing.
It's definitely not a. I've got
heavy.
like backpacking tents. This is just for like, hey, we're gonna do car camping, and we had that little teardrop thing. We're like, we can't fit a dog, a baby. And
You're taking the dog too?
Yeah, because this is why we have to. Because otherwise we would have flown. Because we need to take the dog.
But you are taking the teardrop. with you,
because that
but
gives
you're not
us-
going to sleep in it.
And that's all storage,
Yeah.
and it's she'll sleep in it if there's like a really bad storm or
Right,
something.
right.
But when we did it last time, she slept in the teardrop, and I was with the dog in a tent, and it didn't feel like camping.
Right.
Because like you were separated,
you're-
the dog
yeah.
would freak out anytime the baby started crying because he couldn't get to her.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
I think what you're doing now is, I think this is far, far easier, to answer your earlier question, to do it right now than it would be when they're like 2. And they're talking and they're just bitching about everything. You know, that's where it gets really difficult as a parent.
Where's my bed?
Yeah, see, right now we're in like maximum cute and easy, I think, because she's like smiles, she looks at you, she's like a big accomplishment yesterday. Shook a rattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I get
rolls
the-
over sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah, no movement other than the rolling over. Like you put her someplace.
Yeah.
You're like, if I come back 15 minutes from now, I'm pretty sure you're going to be in the same place. But also has the like the arm movement so that if she gets a blanket up over her face, probably won't accidentally kill herself.
Oh, that's great.
I know,
That's
it's really
fantastic.
exciting.
Oh my gosh.
Like I think this weekend, Gina and I are going to test that a little bit. So we'll put the blanket up over and see if she actually moves it out of the way.
Oh, great.
I mean, under close supervision.
Sure.
Yeah. Here's a plastic bag.
That
kid.
was. I remember that moment being like, "Oh, that's fantastic! Now I don't have to worry about accidentally like a blanket moving its way
Yeah.
over your face and being like, boy, that's a shitty thing to worry about."
Well, it's a terrible thing because she started Harry Houdiniing out of the swaddle now.
Yeah.
So like you will wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and there'll just be an arm that's up like this, but it's kind of in a weird way and
Yeah.
like
Because it's right under the armpit.
yeah, because she's managed to
this.
or she comes out the bottom sometimes too. I don't even know how that's possible.
Wait, with an arm?
Yeah, of like so we have those sacks, the fold over sacks,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sleep sacks. And I'm like, how the fuck did you even get your hand out of the bottom of this thing? I didn't think that there was a hole there.
Yeah.
So the hands.
Is it? It's a Velcro one.
It's one of the Velcro
Do you
ones.
cinch that thing up like?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I do too.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like foot on the baby's
Yeah,
chest.
just
and
like
back.
baby
Yeah.
burrito. Just
Yeah, baby burritos are great.
yeah.
Like sour cream on mine.
I just remember, there were points when I felt like maybe I was being too aggressive.
Nope.
Because I was maybe in the wrong headspace to be cinching this baby up after it was screaming forever and being like, like it needs those ratchet things like you have on the
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
Some
Just like,
masking tape for the mouth.
yeah, be like, he's really quiet. Yeah, he is. Just don't go in there. Sweetie, just don't open the door.
So she started doing this thing in the last couple of weeks where at intervals throughout the night, she'll just let out one blood-curdling scream
Yeah.
and then go right back to sleep. Like it's just enough that you wake up and you're both sitting up in bed and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then the baby's unconscious, like nothing. I didn't. Nothing happened. But the baby, we only figured out what was happening because like a week ago I was up late working on something and I heard the scream. And Gina was like, "Did you just hear something?"
Yeah.
She's been asleep in the bedroom. And I was like, "Yeah, the baby just let out one like really short, really loud scream, and then immediately went back to sleep." And she was like, "Oh, that explains why the last week and a half we've been just like we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, looking at each other like, what just happened?
Why are we both awake?
What on earth? What was that? Did you hear it? Did we just have a synchronized dream?
Right.
Is this ketamine frenzy? Something? I don't know what's going on.
I was
but
just
that's
telling
bad.
Jeff
Avoid
about that before we
Yeah.
came in that my son does that same thing. He'll do like maybe 2 or 3 a night sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like, wah!
Yeah.
And then just pass back out. And
I don't even think she wakes up when she does this.
its
like-
eyes are closed for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and it wakes you up and it kind of sucks.
Demonic possession.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Just working out the baby
Sure.
demons.
You think it's just a matter of time until the split pea soup gets sprayed all over the room?
Gotta get that kid baptized.
That's why I got to head east.
Oh man,
That's where all the Catholic caramellas are. They're just waiting. I was telling Jeff this story before we came in. So Max still sleeps best in the bed with us, like when he doesn't sleep well in the
like
crib.
snuggle them up between the.
Yeah, like between me and my wife, and I have just been, work's been kind of rough, and I've just been in this kind of like spiraling down mood, right? Just like this really dark place, and I'm just trying to figure life out and all this stuff. And then I'd say like Tuesday, I woke up feeling great, like just like a new man. Just got out of bed.
I'm a little worried about you now, Vinny.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there, and I'm like sitting in bed, and I'm thinking like, wow, what did I eat last night? Like, what? Or like, oh man, am I like now clinically depressed and like the chemicals aligned well and like I'm manic and like now I've got like, and then my wife comes in with the baby and is like, yes, Max slept all night last night. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, didn't wake up at all. It's like, my God, that's it? I just like, I haven't been sleeping in like months. Like, this is terrible. I need to go apologize to everybody right now and just say, no, it's been me. I just have not been sleeping. It's not actually the world on fire.
It's one of those things that like if you regularly do things like not sleep for like to play video games for a couple of nights and then go bomb out for 8 or 10 hours, it's not the same because it never stops.
Right.
Like it's just every night and it grinds you down until you're like tiny and have about a 4-minute attention span and you're like you realize you're watching an episode of Three's Company and can't follow it. And I was just like, hold on, what? There's some sort of confusion here? What's
Wait, I know Larry said something. I just can't remember it.
Why am
Larry
I crying?
hitting on the blog?
I thought it was the Regal Beagle.
I thought it was a comedy, but I'm crying all through this episode. I think the difference is that, you know, to compare to like the video game thing is, of course, that's voluntary too, right? You know, you're staying up all night because you're into this game. Whereas if you're staying up all night with the baby, it's because the baby won't fucking stop crying.
Well, yeah, and eventually you get to and here's the thing, like since Gina breastfeeds, I basically, you know, I have the easy part of the night shift, right? Like I get up and occasionally change a diaper, but usually she's like, there's no reason for both of us to wake up and suffer, and I'm going to be at home and I can take a nap tomorrow, and you have to go to work. So like, you know, get some sleep. But even just the not. Like, even the disruption in the sleep is enough to be like, oh, it throws you off and you don't know why you're thrown off.
Yeah. I think, because I was trying to think about it. And after my wife told me that, I was like, oh, my God, like that's kind of amazing. And I don't think I'd been dreaming for like 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like I don't think I was ever getting into that deep cycle of sleep. And then, so last night she was like, I was, you know, I had this conversation with her and I was like, and she was psyched too because she's like, oh my God, you're in such a good mood. And I was like, well, yeah, I think I slept. And then last night she was like, you should sleep in the guest room. She's like, you should.
Oh, this is how it starts.
Yeah, she's like, you know, because I was like, no, I want to sleep here. And she's like, and I went to sleep. And then he just gave me like a good karate chop to the face in the middle of the night. And then I was like, you know, I startle awake. That's just kind of how I am. Yeah. Like I don't wake up gracefully from that. Like I startle awake and I jump up.
Boba Fett.
Yeah. And like half the time it's like, you know, like ready for a fight. Like, you know, like I don't know why. I don't know what happened.
Punching holes in walls.
I had two brothers when I, you know, growing up. So I think it's just usually like if somebody wakes up in the middle of the night, he's going to spit on your face or something like that.
Yeah.
So usually I just wake up ready to like, and so she's just like, you know, she's like, honey, like, you should just go to the guest room. And I was like, I'll go to the guest room. And then I woke up and I had some great dreams last night. I think I had camping dreams. Somebody owned a giraffe. It was fantastic.
At one point,
while camping?
Yeah. And somebody was bringing their giraffe with them.
Nice.
Do you like ride your pet giraffe?
It wasn't mine.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good.
I feel like we're actively trying to train Veronica to sleep during like construction.
It's a good idea.
Like taking her to bars
Yeah.
and just doing whatever you can to keep
Yeah,
them
some
around
noise.
Yeah. Never be quiet in front. Like the dog barks, we don't yell at the dog. We're like, you know, good dog, keep barking, keep it going. The baby sleeps through anything. Like once she's asleep, it's pretty good.
Just getting them to sleep.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it on the first podcast. I don't know what this is. I'm touching, so I'm going to stop touching it.
No, it's okay. I'll plug it in. You can keep talking.
Maybe I mentioned this or not, but I actually, when my kid was just a few months old and had not slept like you were talking about in multiple days, I actually did punch a hole in our garage door with my fist. And, you know, I'm not a big guy or a violent guy, but I was so sleep deprived, you know, and I just like went outside, you know, in the front yard, and I was just like so tired, and I was so aggravated from lack of sleep, and I just punched my fist into the garage door and went all the way through.
Did it make you feel like a big man?
Oh, I felt completely stupid, of course.
Yeah. Well,
now we had a repair and my arm hurt.
It's that moment right after, right? When you're just like, oh, God. Oh, now I've got...
Yeah, it's splinters.
I don't think I've ever punched a wall before.
I have.
I should try that.
Currently,
I stopped being mad.
Currently in my garage is some cut drywall, some spackling, and some because I similarly not too long ago was just in the garage. It was hadn't slept. It was just one of those days, and it was just wasn't a closed fist. It was just an open palm up against the wall, just a boomf. hand goes right through the drywall.
Oh, damn.
And it's that immediate like, what are you doing? What are you
Right.
doing, dude?
Right.
Like, now and then you have to go into the house.
Yeah.
And my wife is sitting there with Max and be like, so I have to go to Home Depot. And now I also need you to watch him even longer as I repair this hole in the drywall. Just escalating. Yeah. He is. I should say he is so much more fun now. Like now that he's over a year and everything.
Yeah.
Interactive. He's a lot of fun. It was really, really tough that first couple of months.
I hear you brought a clip.
I didn't bring a clip. Yeah, I'll cue it up.
That was a Johnny Carson moment.
Yeah. My wife sent this to me.
So you have a new movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called Baby Terror. My wife sent this to me, and this is where he's at. If it'll play.
Hey, Max. What sound does a cat make?
Meow, meow, meow.
Very good. What sound does a cow make?
Moo.
That's right. Very good. What sound does a sheep make?
Moo.
A sheep.
Moo.
No. What sound does a sheep make?
This is where he ate the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the end.
Did he punch a hole through some drywall? After
Yeah,
that?
and then he put a hole through the drywall. So he's so much more fun to interact with now. But you know, he's still a baby, and he still gets.
There's poop everywhere all the time.
Well, it's just the part where you're like, I know you need to go to bed now. We all know you need to go to bed now, and it just does not want to go to sleep. And if he misses those naps or doesn't go to sleep, and the longer it takes, it's like it's this exponential equation of like how much worse it's going to be.
If you miss the window, like the worst times we've had have been missing the window. Like there's like the 3 o'clock nap. That if you miss the 3 o'clock nap, you're completely fucked.
Yeah.
Like you should plan on staying up all night long.
Buy some drywall.
You should. Yeah. I mean, like it's one of those things that like I would rather at that point. There's anything in the world I would rather do than face the baby at say 10:30.
Yeah.
She's not good then. But the other side of that is if you hit if you keep the schedule and you get the naps in, then like now we can put her to bed at like 8:30 and she'll sleep until 6. Sometimes, not all the time, but enough.
How long is the bedtime routine?
Well, she's new, so we don't like. What do you mean? The bedtime
Like
routine?
basically, like is it just put the baby down and then walk away?
I usually one of us holds the baby until she's like starting to kind of get she has about 10 minutes before she falls asleep. She gets real fussy for maybe 5 minutes, and then as soon as that's done, you go put her down,
And then that's
boom
it.
out.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a good sleeper.
Sleep is important.
Yeah.
A good sleeper sounds like an awesome thing.
Yeah, Veronica will do. She's doing like 4.5.
That's awesome.
Sometimes now. It's
See,
amazing.
when we were where you are, Gina was doing. We were doing the feed, pump, bottle routine, which took about 90 minutes each go around, and you had to do it every 3 hours. And it was like that was at the point at which Gina looked up at me and she's like, "I haven't had a dream in 2.5 months."
Right.
And I was like, "This is real bad." Yeah, we were in dark places, and then we were just it just worked out. But the 4 hours is good. Like 4 hours is a real maintainable. You can do that for a long time.
Yeah.
Be a normal human being. That's when we started going to restaurants again.
What?
Yeah.
Why I'm worried I'm going to screw it up with a big cross country trip.
Well, but as long as you can be chill, I think as long as you, like when because we've taken her on road trips up to like Sebastopol and east a little bit and some stuff like that, and gone down south a couple of times. And as long as you like respect the schedule, fear the schedule, Dave. So just like when she starts crying and wants the diaper changed, you pull over the side of the road, you change the diaper, and then you get her back on the like. As long as you do that, I think you'll be fine. Or it'll be a complete disaster, one way or the other.
I think you'll be fine. 4 hours is good. Like, Max was actually despite all the fuss and going to bed. Once he was asleep, he always slept for like 6 hours or so, even from a little kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just that he'll if he wakes up and he doesn't see you, he'll get up. He won't like self-soothe back to sleep. Like
Okay.
he'll kind of just sit up. And now that he can kind of get up on his own, he will just get up. And he's like, I'm going to get out of bed. What are you guys doing?
As we've taken the swaddle, as we're removing the swaddle, so like the thing we do now is the last nap before she goes to bed is not a swaddle nap anymore. So she just lays down and has a blanket and arms flailing. And she's figuring out that like she can knock her pacifier out with the arms and stuff like that. And so then that becomes the shit. Where'd my pacifier go? Wah! And you have to like we've slowly learned which are the oh, I better go put the pacifier in cries versus the oh, she's probably about to fall asleep and we can just ride this one out cries. How's your daughter sleep, Jeff? Pretty good.
She was always a terrible sleeper, always, and remains one to this day, even in college, where it's really kind of not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, honestly, I don't mean this to sound sad, but, you know, one of the reasons that we only have one kid, actually, is because she was so terrible with sleeping. I mean, we, like, lost sleep for, like, 3 years. And at the point where we were like, should we have another one? We were both just like, Jesus, fuck no. You know, I mean, and she's amazing. She's a great kid. And even during that time, of course, we totally adored her. But the night times were just exhausting. And, well, the whole day was exhausting because she was just terrible. You know, she was a colicky kid, and if you don't know what that word means, it basically is just like extra fussy is all it means, you know.
And nothing you can do about it,
nothing
right?
you can do about it. All the stories you guys are telling are all the things we went through, you know, but it was just like everything we tried, and, you know, we read books, we saw a doc, everything you know, is just like she woke up every 2 hours for like 3 years. You know, she just was not a steady sleeper.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you learn to adjust, I mean, and you learn to survive. Like what we had to do a lot was basically spot each other. So, you know, we learned we would definitely have to tag team. Like we learned we couldn't both go crazy at once because then we would start fighting with each other.
Yeah.
So it had to be like, it's your turn with her. I'll, you know, go take a walk for half an hour and come back. And when you're like able to deal with her again, then, you know. So, and again, this is sounding way more grim than it actually, in general.
No, but the half hour, like it's amazing what a half hour does when you're deep in a hole.
Yeah, because it gets to the point where, you know, it actually stops being your beautiful kid, and it's sort of like the spawn of Satan for a while. You're just like, shut the fuck up. You know, as much as you love it, you're like, oh my God, I've fed you, you're clean, you've slept way more than we have.
Yeah.
You know, so please stop, you know.
And that handoff is just
the handoff is really
incredible.
important. It is really important, and you know, every dad especially needs to do that for his wife. You know, I mean, there's definitely, you know, and Vinny and I were talking about this before. You know, and you guys mentioned it too. Is like this thing about like we get to go to work. And like at the time when my daughter was that age, you know, I was a computer gaming world, and work basically meant we were like Quake death matching for
yeah, you guys were working hard
for 6 hours. So what, like I felt extra guilty, you know, about the work I was doing all day, you know. So it was really important that I be there to be able to spot her and give her that break. But, you know, as she's gotten older, like I've noticed, and it really is less of our responsibility, it's still bad. Like, I think some people are just that way, right? I mean, as adults, some of us sleep well and some of us don't. And she, like, now stays up till 2 and then gets up, you know, in the middle of the night. I don't even know. I actually don't care.
Yeah. It's her problem.
It's her problem now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also, by the way, because we talked about this last time, it was a great idea having the computer in the nursery.
Really? Oh, because you could sit there and play games while she's sleeping?
It was perfect.
Nice.
Like,
that was smart.
because every time I would take care of her something, it's like I'd sit in that room, or that's just a room we're kind of always in. And so you've got like internet and all that kind of fun stuff, and you can jump on. And then if she'd ever, you know, if she passed out, and you're like, oh, I can just put her in the crib for a little bit and then chill online till she wakes up, and then you just hop off. And I mean, for right now, it works. Yeah. We'll see what happens when I start like actually having a job again and start working on my computer.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll change. But for like right now, it's perfect.
Okay.
It seems pretty easy. And I leave the speakers on, so then she's falling asleep to Neverwinter right now.
Does she like Neverwinter? Good soundtrack?
Yeah.
Do you play music for the kids? You're a music family.
Yeah, but mostly we were playing music for ourselves. Okay. So it's not.
Well, then.
I mean, but we're not like, let's put on music.
Put on earmuffs for
There's
the
no
kid.
like special music that we're putting on.
One of those Mozart for babies.
No, that stuff's all bunk.
I'll tell you what she does do, because Nicole sings bluegrass, she uses it to learn new songs. So like my house is amazing because you just hear like a baby and my wife singing to her, which is like as perfect a thing as you could ever have as a husband.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You just sit there and you're like, oh, this is awesome. I wish I could like snapshot this, put it in a time capsule.
Well, there's a lot of stuff like that I just like. So the coming home. So there's good and bad to going away from work every day. The one is that you have like 8 hours where you don't have baby stuff going, or 9 hours where you don't have baby stuff going on, which is nice. But the bad is that I come home and I'm like, oh, the baby rolled over for the first time today. I totally missed that. Here's a video of the third time it happened. But the thing I have to say is that the coming home, and once she started recognizing you, like when she got to the point that she's like, oh, I know you, and then hit a big smile, like, this is the best feeling I've ever had. I didn't realize I could feel like this. This is really nice.
Yeah, I actually, the problem I have now is like, when I get home, it's usually when he's trying to get put down to sleep.
Yeah.
And so I get home, and then my wife and Max are in bed or something. It's like 8 o'clock or something like that. And then like I have to open the door really slowly because if he sees me, it blows the whole thing up, right?
Yeah.
You've now ruined this entire. We've been at this for an hour, and now he's completely wound up. And that's kind of heartbreaking because you're like, you know, you just want to say hi. You want to spend like the 10 minutes you can with your kid before you go into bed, and you're like, my wife just does this, and I'm like, oh.
I loved the 11 o'clock feeding for that because like even if I got home late or was on like flew in at the end of the day or something, I'd go home, baby's asleep. I can look at the baby when she's sleeping. And then at least when she wakes up at 11 o'clock to get fed, I can give bottle and hold and change diapers, and you know it's good. But that's going away, so I don't know.
So you wake up early? What's the scoop?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I actually, I usually sleep until about 7:30-ish, maybe sometimes even later. My wife usually takes the first shift when he wakes up from like 6:30. Last night he slept until 8.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, which was kind of weird. But he went to bed super late, and it was kind of a shame. I got home kind of late, and like my wife had ordered Chinese food, but she did it through like Grubhub or whatever on her phone because it was like, oh, I'm gonna have a little treat, and we're gonna order food. And the food showed up, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to my wife. She's in the bedroom with Max, putting him to sleep, and I don't know if she put the tip on the thing, on the Grubhub thing. So now I have to go communicate with my wife while she's putting Max to sleep, while the guy's at the door to be like, did you tip him? Did you give him a tip? And finally, I just had to walk in and be like, hey, did you tip him? And Max shoots up and is up.
Oh, boy.
And then he was up for another 2 hours.
And then you ruined the whole thing.
And I ruined the whole thing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, yeah, he went to sleep late, but he woke up late. The thing that breaks my heart now is that he can wave goodbye, or he says goodbye. So, like, my wife walks with me to the train every day, and it's just that, like, bye, Daddy, from the train. And like, I don't know, maybe this is the video person in me or whatever, but I always, every time I see like my wife leaning over the stroller, being like, wave goodbye to Daddy, and sometimes he'll wave, sometimes he just stares at me, sometimes he waves. And he's like, bye. All I'm seeing is it as a flashback to some kid who is like now, you know, a hustler on the streets, like thinking back to the last time he saw his dad getting on the BART train or whatever.
What's the music piece?
Yeah, I don't know. Some like kind of like orchestral melody.
The way we were.
And he's just thinking back at it like he's now like, you know, trying to get this dancer, you know, on her feet and stuff like that.
He's a pimp.
Hey, Max, are you with us? We'll snap out of it, man. It's like, thinking back to the last time I saw him.
Looking
like
at the gun.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just that kind of that like blank stare with him, just like, bye, Daddy, bye. And then, you know, I don't know, the BART train takes me off to whatever cinema land dads go to.
There was a producer on The Sims when I was with that team.
Oh,
and
I didn't know
he
you
was
worked with EA.
Yeah, and there was a dad who had a kid probably about the age of more like the age of your son, like about a year, and everybody worked late to get this game done at the time, so every night he would Skype with his wife and say goodbye to his son, and this was like over months.
Yeah,
and when the kid went to preschool, so it must have been actually older because it was preschool or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, the kid had to draw a picture of his father.
Oh,
and so, guess what
he drew the
he
computer
did?
screen?
He drew his dad's face inside a screen.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, he felt terrible.
The games industry is full of monsters. That's the lesson here.
Yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't an anti-EA story, by the way. That was
No.
that was not a subtle
Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes.
the worst thing,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Can you imagine your kid drawing a picture of you inside a TV screen or a box?
Is Max like instantly drawn to screens?
Yeah, he just
Okay.
goes right up to. He now knows how to turn the TV on and off, and also change the receiver buttons too.
Oh,
So,
boy.
Yeah, he'll turn them off and on.
You haven't taught him how to use the Harmony yet? Come on, man.
No, he knows how to turn the iPhone on as well, and also how to hit the home button on it.
She is most interested in screens. Like the
turn
order
her
of
head.
operations on shit that the baby is into is like screens, mom, the dog, me.
Wow.
I know.
That's the pecking order?
It's pretty brutal. Well, I'm not a source of food.
Yeah.
Right,
And the dog
sure.
is loud and interesting. And I think she's still not entirely sure whether she's a dog or a human. Like she looks at the dog and like she sees other babies. She's like, I think you're one of me. And then she looks at the dog and she's like, you're about the right size.
Right.
But I would think that the beard would give you points, right? Because
She does like the beard.
Yeah.
She like, well, for a while she was grabbing on and like
Right,
pulling
right.
out chunks, which
Right.
I'm going to go and tell you that's not that was a reason to trim the beard. She likes t-shirts. Like there's a couple of t-shirts that are like real high contrast or orange and blue that she's totally into. But like if you lined us up in a row,
Yeah.
and you put the baby on the ground and like just tracked what she looked at, it would be the screen first and then mom.
Yeah.
That was my first thing, noticing that the child is smarter than a dog. Like immediately
Yes.
was in front of a mirror and just being like, oh, like looked at me. Like in
Oh,
the
really?
mirror, rather than like the
Oh.
dog, which just freaks out. It's like that's another dog, you know, and just starts barking.
It's kind of an interesting realization. Yeah, I remember thinking when Sarah was very young, like about your child's age, that like she's not a pet because it sort of feels that way at the beginning, right? Because they're this little tiny lump of whatever.
And roughly the same equivalent
Yeah.
intelligence of like up to 8 months, 10 months, a dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the when we got to the point where we're like, okay, you're starting to
you're a human.
You're starting to outclass the dog a little bit.
Yeah.
your tricks are a little bit better.
I kind of
we
feel
need
like
to
until they
change
can-
the movie selection, like at late night.
Yeah, yeah. There is like the what you watch on TV. We're starting to reach to the point where we're like, maybe we shouldn't be watching Django Unchained with the baby. I mean, we aim the baby away from the TV,
Sure.
but you know, it's still.
Yeah, well, especially
She really liked
How'd
that
she like
blue
it?
suit. She thought the blue suit was the most awesome. She was like that.
that's overrated.
Ah! And she cooed and gurgled at it, so she was very excited.
Like Max is at the age now where he's saying stuff that, you know, like that audio clip I played where my wife is prompting him for stuff, right? Like that's new. He used to just do that stuff when you point to the picture of a cow or something like that. But
okay.
But now he can prompt stuff, and now he's generating stuff that we're not like, you know, just being like the cow says moo. The cow says moo. What does the cow say?
But, like,
Moo.
he's a stand-up act.
Yeah, he's coming up with his
What's
own,
the deal with
coming up,
cows?
he's coming up with his own material. No, he's just repeating things that he's hearing throughout the day. So now we have to be very careful. Like my wife, you know, my wife goes ugh all the time, right? Like, you know, change the diapers, ugh, just, you know. And now Max all the time is just like something falls on the floor, he's like ugh, and so
That's why we all have the mannerisms of our parents.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's cute though. That's why I love it so much more. Like yesterday, like when he was up and the Chinese food came, he opens the Chinese food box and then sticks his hand in it, and it's hot. And he takes it out and starts blowing on it.
That's pretty adorable.
That's awesome.
And I'd never seen it before. I'm like, look at this. So, and my wife says, yeah, he does it all the time. You know, like that's what you miss when you're at work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's like, oh, because I blow on the food all the time. But it's awesome. It's all the cute shit that you're like, you know, I'm sure telling it to other people or something, you're like, you know, put a gun to my head,
fucking
please.
hate
Like,
it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I showed him a picture of a rabbit the other day and he goes, nibble, 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 nibble. And I'm like, what? And my wife is like, we had to think for a second. And she's like, oh, nibble, nibble. Right, because that's the sound the rabbit makes. Nibble, nibble. And that's the stuff I'm really enjoying now is like, because now I can try teaching him to say stuff to my wife, like when he's not there.
Right. He's like a parrot at this point.
Yeah,
instead
Yeah,
of
you
a
can
dog.
totally screw him up.
Yeah, and be like,
Yeah.
yo, homie, where's my food?
This is when you get out like NWA albums and start teaching them the entire run.
Right.
Yeah, like teach them some fun sing-alongs.
I want you to learn all of Bombs Over Baghdad
Yeah,
by
perfect.
tomorrow.
Because
Why
it's
not?
phonetic to them. They don't really
Yeah.
yeah, they have no idea. Yeah. But it's super fun. That
It's a
part
great
is
trick
really
for kindergarten.
What does a black person say? That's what we like to do. After we went through, like, animals, what does the Jew say? I remember my kid along these lines when she would point to food at one point when she was real little and would say, "Oh boy." And we didn't know what that meant. And then we realized it's because when we would put the plate of food in front of her, we'd go, "Oh boy." And so she thought food was, "Oh boy."
Oh boy.
That's what she called food because of us.
That stuff's really fun.
It's super cute.
Yeah.
Introducing food is really I'm really looking forward to that because that's the next big thing.
Solids for us was the turning point.
Yeah.
It's just because it becomes this amazing just pacification tool. Like for us, like you can have, like I said, the Cheerios or a snack or something, and like if he's not great in the car seat or something, and then it's like, "Oh man, you want some Cheerios?" And it's like, great. And then actually the plane was awesome with solid foods too, because it was like, "Oh hey, do you want some snacks or something like that?" And like he does.
What's the percentage of waste? Like with that loose grip. Like, what am I looking at?
You're looking at a 10% in the mouth.
Really?
Yeah.
10%?
I would even say
Do you
maybe
consider that high or low?
Low.
I would say it might be even lower than that. You might get 10% in the hand on a reach, and then it doesn't really make it into the
misses?
It just misses and then falls, and then that might have just vanished because there's no concept of like, oh, I missed.
Because we're in the stage right now where you're losing like 20% just to like projectile. Like,
Oh, sure.
Oh, you're probably feeding her too much then.
well,
I mean, okay, so we
she's
went
gaining
through,
weight good.
we went through this thing. We went through this, and like you go to the doctor, and they're like, "Well, doctors overprescribe Zyrtec for baby
indigestion?
reflux." No. Basically, a fairly large number of babies have the valve that keeps your esophagus closed is underdeveloped for the size at like. And it's a real specific time period. It's like 2 months to 3 months.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So they give them Zyrtec so they don't yak up as much. But he said projectile. Like if you feed
We had
them,
one.
if
We
you
had
pull
one
the
that I
bottle
saw,
out,
and it was just like,
wow. And if
I
it
was
looks
like, that's awesome. That's the first I've seen.
so one day she was Gina had her on her shoulder and I was standing behind and I just like watched it come out. It completely cleared Gina and just splatted
Holy
on the
cow.
floor. It was amazing.
Oh, no, we never had that.
But that means pull
little
back
too
a little bit
much.
on the food
Really?
is what our pediatrician told us. Not doctors.
yeah.
Not doctors.
Not a medical podcast.
Not a medical podcast. Yeah, the food thing is super because like at this point, like the bottle making is like it's like, would you like to trade the here's the poopiest diaper you'll see all day, or make 4 bottles for the next 12 hours? And it's like, I'll take the diaper. I'm good with the diaper.
You're at 4 months now.
4 months.
4 months. So
we got like
you gotta-
2 probably.
Yeah. No teeth yet, right? No.
She's slobbering a ton.
Okay.
And she's super into those the chewy things.
Yeah.
And she's jamming every whole fist. Like if she could get the feet in there, she's looking at the feet, and I can tell she's like, man, I wish I could get those in my mouth.
Yeah.
So a tooth is coming, probably.
There are teeth. We can't feel them yet. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, she's makes more slobber than. I mean, she's like
It's
that
crazy,
dog
right? You
from
like
Turner
tip it
and
over,
Hooch.
and it's just like like drool.
Yeah, like you hold her up,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh God, when's it coming?
Yeah.
Down a little bit. Okay, keep the mouth closed.
Like
yeah.
things like drool rashes, where I was just like, really? Like you're drooling so much that
We
like,
haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah, Max had those. And like, it's bad. Then we
Yeah.
tried drool bibs, and we're like, this is making it worse because it's just you're making this soaking thing on you now.
She's figuring out kisses, but like baby kisses for her are open the mouth as wide as you can.
That's pretty cool.
And like it's just like this giant slobbery mess, and you're like, man, like 5 years ago I'd been like, this is the grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, baby kisses is good.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Well, I think the thing that's crazy about all that stuff, and I think we said it before, like I really, as much as you complain or you don't have sleep or whatever, I feel like I have never, and then this is probably a cliche dad thing too, felt more protective of anything probably in my life. Like I always felt like yeah, of course I love my wife and I do all of this stuff, but like geez, like with that kid, I'm probably going to be an overprotect dad, sadly.
Oh, nightmare.
But like, holy cow! Like,
Oh yeah, totally. It's like a feral thing.
I feel, and sometimes I feel like I would take on the world if I had to, to stop him from hitting the corner of a bookshelf or something like
Yeah.
that. You know?
Right.
When I was a teenager, my dad was like, hey, if you ever want to try, drugs or anything, let me know. I'll go buy them so that you don't go to jail. And that sounded really bad when I said it that way, but it was part of a longer conversation that was about making good choices. So, this is
sex the same way? Was it like, let me go get you a
No. It wasn't like a Robert
That's how
Downey
my
Jr.
dad lost his
thing.
virginity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his uncle took him to a whorehouse.
Wow.
I know, isn't that cool? It's like,
pretty
Dad,
bad.
why didn't you do that for me? Don't tell me the story and then don't do it for me.
This is when he told you this when you were 22?
It was probably in my 20s when he told me.
Yeah, but my father was like, look, if you're ever curious about this stuff, come talk to me. Don't don't just go out to the dude behind the 7-Eleven and buy some weed.
We had the same talk
shit.
with my daughter, and the motivation is exactly what you're talking about. It's just safety. We're just like, we just want you safe.
Right.
You live in Berkeley, you're a teenager. We know that marijuana is going to factor in here somewhere or another.
Right.
It's like, it was all about, like, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
But when he told me that, I was like, this is the fucking weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life. And I totally get it now. Like, all of that stuff that like, my parents were very well-meaning and kind of, I think we're probably all going to do this, make the same weird fuck-ups along the way, or maybe different fuck-ups in the same...
Or like
with the same
reactionary
intentions.
fuck-ups.
Yeah, exactly. All of that stuff, like a lot of that makes a lot more sense. And like that's the thing that has been the lesson for me of the last like month and a half. It's like all of the stuff that
You're becoming your parents.
God help me. I haven't bought, not yet. Give me a little bit of time. Give me a few
Well,
more
yeah, you
years.
just figure out why they did. It's like you said, like
I understand their
apologize.
motivation,
Yeah.
and in a way that I never would have appreciated. Like I couldn't see where they were coming from before, and now.
Well, that's kind of the MO of both sides, right? That's the MO of the parent and the MO of a teenager is you have to not know where your parents are coming from, otherwise.
But I wonder if we know that because we know this is happening, can we break the cycle?
No.
They knew it
you
was
can't.
happening too.
I don't know if my parents are that self-aware.
I bet they
think
were.
Everybody is.
You think they were?
Yeah, they probably were.
Yeah. I'll have to have a conversation with my dad.
Did you, hey Jeff? What did you do for? Did you do like timeouts? What do you do at like discipline time?
We did timeouts, and I like talking about this with my daughter now, just because she barely remembers. But she was just like rabid in her when she needed a timeout. She like seriously needed one, because she would just be out of control. And what I would have to do, I'd put her in a room, and I would have to stand there and physically hold the door. Because she was like trying to bust out. It was
I was the
like,
kid.
like
I can
child of
definitely
Satan.
remember that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I used to run around cars, and they'd be on the other side, like in the garage, and
Yeah.
they couldn't catch me.
See,
Wow.
Like, I was horrible.
my parents somehow instituted such a phenomenal amount of shame, of disappoint. Like I didn't ever want to disappoint anyone.
Yeah.
And like I didn't like
just
I
didn't lash
occasionally would do stuff like see if gas vapor burned, but other than that,
That seems fairly.
Oh, I was horrible.
high on
I
the
made
list.
them make like moral choices. Like they would be, you need to get
you
this.
give them like
No, they would be like, you need
prisoner,
to.
prisoner dilemmas.
No, they'd be like, hey, you need to get this paper that you've got for school done. And I'd be like, it's due in a week. And they'd be like, you need to get it done or you're going to get a spanking. And they'd be like, you sit down and you think about that. They'd come back in 15 minutes. And I'd be like, I'll take the spanking.
Wow.
They'd be like, what the fuck can we do?
shit.
Did they deliver the spanking?
No.
What?
Of course not.
Wow,
So
that's
you
brutal.
won.
Yeah.
You had them.
You called their bluff and you won. Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
But yeah, with Sarah, I got to say, when she got older, I mean, this timeout stuff is obviously when she's a little kid.
Yeah.
When she got older, she was very much, and to this day, is like extremely hard on herself. So after a while, like we couldn't really punish her anymore because it was more like, okay, it's fine that you got a B+ instead of an A.
Yeah.
Jesus, I wish I got B pluses.
Like the thing I remember for me was that I remember Mom told me not to run in the grocery store, and I ran in the grocery store and I knocked over a enormous thing,
Like a display?
a display
Oh, God.
of pickles, and they were still in glass jars.
Oh my gosh, dude! Don't run in the grocery store.
So And of course, when I think about it now, I know that she was pissed off because she was afraid that I was going to crash into something glass and get cut or hurt myself.
Right.
Because the grocery store, I mean, they're like, I don't think they would have charged us for the pickles. I think we're like, it happens. It's a small town. We know your business is good. We'll get this back out of you for the next 5 years. But it was a shitload of pickles, and they all exploded everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And I got spanked in the aisle at the grocery store, and I never ever wanted like that. I think that was the origin of not not.
How old were you?
I probably 3 or 4. It was.
So you're saying
this is a super early. Like this is a super early. Like
you're
the
saying
pickle getting. like it's right up there with meeting Mickey Mouse at Disney World when I was 4. Like that was another big one.
So you're pro spanking. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just beat the kids. That's what I say.
Lay into them. It's so like I would never even think to. Well, I shouldn't say think. It would like that form of corrective measure, like spanking or belt or anything. Never. It seems so crazy.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, that was. It was I guess it was a different
like,
time.
It was rare, but like it definitely happened.
Yeah, like my dad would be super pissed, and the belt would come off.
But it wouldn't have. For us, it would have never happened after we were probably 3 or 4.
Really?
I can't imagine.
Yeah, mine was pretty young.
Yeah, it was only because like once it became once I feel like watching my sister grow up. Once we got to the point that and they may not have ever spanked her. I don't even remember. But once we got to the point that like we knew the difference between things we were supposed to do and things we weren't supposed to do, which happened, I feel like at a pretty young age for us. We never I never got spanked or anything.
What happens when you touch your dad's tools and he's who the fuck touched my tools?
Dad was we kind of worked together on that. Like I was the guy, I was the kid. He would be like, "Go get the crescent wrench," and then it would be like a 20-minute process of me bringing back different things until I figured out which one was the crescent wrench.
And an internet personality was born.
Next week on True Internet Stories. Yeah, no, like they were cool. Like they let us use saws and all sorts. Like not like power, like
But not by yourself.
It depends on the tool. Like I probably was using like jigsaws and stuff like that when I was 8 or 9 unsupervised.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe
Yeah.
I am going to be an overprotective.
I can barely use a jigsaw.
But like hacksaws and stuff for sure. But the non-power stuff we were using, if we wanted to do something, we lived on a farm, so like all that stuff was just in the barn. And Dad wasn't like he was never super organized about it. And the person who got yelled at when tools were missing was usually Mom, because she was the one who would
clean up.
Is notorious. No, she wouldn't clean up. She'd go take something, use it, set it down where she finished using it, or put it in a different place, and then you'd not be able to find the 3/8 wrench. Like my parents have probably 40 socket sets, if I had to guess, at their house right now, because they all have a different socket missing. It's fucking great. It's the best thing ever. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm at the point now with Max where it's just a lot of no, right? And nothing is penetrating. I don't. At least I don't think it's penetrating. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing like almost like a dog like tone of voice or like
Shake a can of pennies.
Yeah. Get a spray bottle or something. Because my
Be quiet, goddammit!
because like
I'm not gonna stop squirting until you're quiet.
well, because he likes to climb now, right? So he's even like he'll climb on like the coffee table, right? And and my wife will be like, no, push him down, no, push him down, no, and then like I'll see this and I'll just in my head I'll be like, no, I think you have to use like the big authoritative voice, right? And so I'll be like, Max, no, and then it's like quiver lip and like she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I thought that was the thing you got to do, right? Just be like, and then I feel bad, and then my wife is holding him like, you monster.
Well,
I don't think there's a right or wrong here, right? It's like there's cultural differences.
You know what? I think there absolutely is a right or wrong here. But I think no one knows what it is because there's so much bullshit out filling the rest of the space. Like, there are 300 books about how to be pregnant. Like, this is something that realistically, like, there's a beginning that is a very well defined how this works, and then there's an end that's pretty well defined, and there's like 3 or 4 things you're supposed to do along the way to make sure that the baby doesn't
I think
explode.
it's cultural. I think it's like whatever works.
This is the kind of bullshit hippie thinking that's ruined America.
It's not hippie. It's
No.
Sorry,
I was
Jeff.
thinking about this just because we live in a place where there's 4 houses in this little condo thing we live in, and the family up front just moved in, and they're Italian. Okay, from Italy. They're not American born, and they have 2 little kids. They have one who's like less than 1, and one who's he's 1, and the other is like 4. Okay, and when the mom or the dad are trying to discipline these kids, they fucking yell. Like we live 3 houses away, and we can hear
this.
You know, and they're like, ah! Like the dad is like brutal. Like I'm scared, you know. And
He'll walk in and be like, "Stop touching the stove, man!"
Right, but then they're clearly like a happy family. The kids are like well adjusted, and the dad is totally a nice guy. But when they're disciplining, they don't fuck around. You know,
he
and
yell
like
in
we
Italian?
never did that. We were.
Is it in Italian?
In Italian.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
in
really
Italian.
good.
Yeah, and he's a big dude too.
Well,
you know.
So, like, we read a bunch of books about all this stuff as like during the warm up period, and they all say different stuff. Like the book with the smug people who have the super quiet baby that it's well behaved that everybody's we read the French book, and the French book tells you to just use no when it's really serious and to use big eyes or something and kind of make do the thing that you would do to the dog so your eyes like the whole
look like
the
a
whole
monster.
the whole discipline is like you make the big eyes and you tell
Really?
her, but you only do that
I feel like
when
that's
they
more
exceed the
frightening than
boundaries.
the belt. That's more frightening than the buckle.
And then so the other book says that
Big
you should
eyes.
correct immediately and often whenever there's an infraction and have well-defined boundaries and like there's 55 different recommendations. And I think that this is where we should put some government money. They should do like a 30-year study, like have one family do this, have another family do
Be
this.
like 49 and up. It'll be the up
Yes,
series.
yes. And just evaluate at 50 years and be like, okay, this is the right one. These are the kids that did this
one's
statistically speaking.
A career criminal.
Yeah,
This one is
right. This kid has been addicted to crack since he was 5 months old.
Right.
Like that's not good.
That's the worst to me because then you run into all the people. It's like, well, did you do this? Are you doing this? And it's like,
Well, that's a
these are
different
the-
thing.
These are the ways. Like you just read some book and you're like, what the fuck does this person have? Like they're just the reason they're all different is because if the books weren't different, they wouldn't be able to sell the book.
Right.
That's the
Right.
problem.
So it's like, here's the whatever method. You
This
know,
is
it's like,
the
it's
easy
just a
way.
kid. Like
Right.
deal with it. Like
Exactly.
whatever works.
And everybody wants an
Right.
answer,
There were
right?
thousands of years where they didn't have books,
But
and
then-
the kids came out fine.
But then your mom told you what to do. When there were no books, your mom said, here's what you're supposed to do. My mom told me this and her mom told me this.
Right.
And then it works out that way. We have overthought this at such a
Yeah.
high level
Yep.
that it's a disaster. And the other thing, the thing you're talking about, the thing where the dad judgment, like the have you had this yet where you're out someplace, you meet somebody with another kid, they're like, oh, how old's your kid? You're like, oh, she's 3 months old. They're like, oh, well, what does she weigh? And you're like, 9 pounds? I don't know, And then he's like, well, how tall is she? Oh, that's a high percentile. That's pretty. And I'm like, you are
Really? It's
evaluating my
evaluation?
child now.
Yeah.
Spot really?
that
we've
shit,
had that.
What
that
the
shit never stopped.
Fuck is wrong with that?
That's what I'm saying. That's just got to be competitive parent shit,
Always,
right? Yeah.
always. And the way to do that is just not play that game.
Yeah.
You know,
Those
that-
people are crazy.
Yeah.
But Max is like monstrously tall. So
Yeah,
like
90th percentile,
so,
right?
So I think people just maybe this doesn't happen to me because I think they just immediately think I'm lying when they're like, oh, how old is he? He's 1.
Oh, that asshole doesn't even
What-
know how
what
old
the
his
fuck
kid
are you
is.
talking about, man? Like your 8-year-old. No, that kid right there.
Is he going to be
The one
kid
with the six
in junior high with the beard? He's going to be that kid, isn't he? He's going to be.
I
totally
hated that kid.
And like nobody's parents wants anything to do with that kid because he already looks like he's smoking.
And that's what gets so tough when he's climbing on the table. Because it's like, dude, yeah, I know you can pick up the table and bring it in your room if you want, but you're still 1 year old and like you don't understand you're gonna fall off. Yeah, he is a just monstrous baby.
Did your wives listen to the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff?
No, and I'm so glad because I told that horrific story about looking.
Never speak of it again.
Yeah, never
We're
speak
not
of
going to
it
speak
again.
of it again.
Right.
My wife liked the show. I was pleasantly surprised.
My wife is a saint.
Yes.
We probably all agree.
We can all agree that your wife is a
As
saint.
much as we can get up here, and we said at the top of the show, people's partners who are primary parents or allow another parent to go off and do a job, or
Yep.
that's the way I feel like
Well,
it
I
really
don't.
is.
Allow isn't necessary. But I mean,
I really do think it is. Like, my wife had to cut back on her hours on her job and
That's
all
true.
that stuff. And like, I'm sure we all, there are a lot of parents out there who have 2 working parents, and then you have a kid, and you have to make choices,
I
right?
don't know how on earth. Yeah.
And like, my wife was like, "You go do this thing. I'll go do that." So very much, she sacrificed, more than her share for the kid. And allows me to come here and complain about
I think
work.
I think it's clear that they have it way harder than we do in general. You know, whether they're a single mom or a married mom, I think
I can't even imagine.
either way, you know, they get burned career wise. You know, they get the brunt of the the day-to-day work. So yeah, all respect to moms.
And I've got friends who the dad is the primary parent, and same thing. And it's just, and it's funny because it's my buddies from back home that were like super goofballs, and like we were the bad teens or whatever. And now talking to them and he's the primary parent, and him being like this motherfucking kid. I'm like, dude, you remember when when we were growing up throwing milkshakes into people's sunroofs? Like, imagine when your kid gets
Really?
Why would you throw away a perfully good milkshake?
That sounds awesome.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Some idiot left his nice sunroof open on his Saab or whatever.
Oh, the car wasn't moving.
Yeah.
It was parked.
Oh, Vinny.
That's brutal.
Oh, that's horrible,
Vinny.
Vinny.
Why would you? It wasn't. I don't know if it was.
Did you?
It was pickled
True
sausage.
You should go
Confessions.
back and write letters
I
right
know.
now.
Dear
Put them on
Saab
there.
guy. He drove a Saab. He fucking deserves it.
I didn't know the make and model of the car, but that's the stupid kid stuff that kids do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
know.
Okay. I think should we do this again before Father's Day? That's coming up, right? That's a
It
thing.
is coming up.
That's a June.
When is Father's Day?
June-ish, middle of June, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
June-ish.
If you like the show,
Did you guys all get your wives Mother's Day gifts?
oh hell yeah!
Oh, I haven't done it yet.
I have not done it.
I'm
You're-
running out
you're-
of time.
I've got an idea though that I'm working through.
Okay.
You better get on that shit, man.
Well, it's
Okay.
got some
It's in
stuff
progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, well, I don't know if I was wondering, do I have
Yeah.
to do it anymore? She's out of the house now.
You're
Like
still a
maybe I'm
mother.
off the hook.
You never stop being a mother.
Right, because I'm feeling if I assume that, she's going to be upset that
Yeah.
I didn't.
My mom was a great help during the kid coming by because she was out here for a while. That was the best. That was the best.
Oh, she
the
not-
most appreciative I've ever been of my mom.
Yeah.
Came over, cleaned, did like laundry, made food, made like tons of lasagna, put it all in, put it in freezer.
We're still eating freezer lasagna.
Yeah, and then took care of the kid. It was great because we were, probably 2 weeks in and able to get Nicole like out of the house and having
wow.
a beer.
Oh, nice.
Which
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
would not have happened.
That first trip out, like we went to a bar, and just had lunch and a beer, and like the kid was there in the stroller. They put us in the quiet part of the bar. It's awesome. It is something I will never forget. So yeah, okay, we'll do this again soon.
Yeah.
This was good, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Kind of went out with a whimper there.
Happy Mother's Day.
Okay, that's
Oh
great.
my God.
Wow, wow, I'm deaf now.